Hey everybody, Nathan Peterson here, clinical therapist and OCD specialist. Distractions can be harmful, but I'm not just gonna tell you why, but give you research-based alternatives that you can do instead. So make sure you stay to the end so you do not miss it. How many times do you pick up your phone throughout the day? Have you ever just turned it on to find that you didn't really have a reason to be there? You actually forgot why you turned your phone on in the first place. This is super common. It becomes a habit. We may have a difficult time just being bored or having a free moment with nothing to do. We often distract ourselves with mindless scrolling games, TV, movies, books, and really anything. But why is it so bad? Well, not all distraction is bad, but it can often turn into a compulsion. A compulsion can be anything we are doing to not face life, triggers, or anxiety. It can turn into harmful avoidance and an excuse to get out of even socializing. Think about this for a moment. I keep having an intrusive OCD thought that my relationship is wrong. I am so unsure if I picked the right person, despite not having any tangible evidence. The anxiety is unbearable. This thought pounds through my head all day long. In order to not think about it, I might grab my phone, I turn on some music, I play a game, I might even plug my ears and say la 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 la, because I don't want this thought. And if I can distract enough, it might go away. This distraction works. Well, kind of. Temporarily. It got that thought to go away, but guess what happens? It comes back with a vengeance. I've not only taught my brain that this thought actually has value, but I need to keep thinking about it because the problem hasn't been solved yet. My brain says, wow, you distracted. It must mean this is important. You didn't problem solve it. Let me bring it back. The urge to distract happens again. It's even stronger because we've trained our brain that it worked. Yay, it worked. But the brain only focuses on the temporary, not long term. Ultimately, we make it so that we're unable to tolerate discomfort. Here's another way to think about it. I am ready to go swimming. I start walking down those stairs, my feet get that shot of cold water, and I say, yikes! Nope, not today. Not doing it. Too cold. I didn't even attempt to get in the water. I didn't tolerate it. I avoided it. I moved away from it. I got one little trigger, boom, and I'm out. My brain at this point only knows that the water is cold and you cannot handle it, which is so untrue. The water may be cold, but if you stayed in long enough, you would have realized that your body gets used to it. You almost even forget that the water was cold because you're in it. Other people might say, how's the water? And you're like, it's not so bad. But if it was right when you got in, it was bad. Do you see what I'm getting at here? The more we don't avoid, the more our body tolerates experiences, thus allowing us to move forward in life instead of continually having to avoid something. We need our body to get used to being uncomfortable. Whether it's an intrusive thought, I was triggered, or I'm meeting up with new friends, I need to continue living life. Here is a good measure of if your distraction is healthy or unhealthy. When we are busy, we're moving closer to our values. We don't really have anything to worry about. We enjoy it. It's a natural process. I typically watch a show while I eat lunch. I check my social media in the morning. These are just the patterns that I do. They are natural. But the key thing to know is when your distractions become forced. I picked up my phone to watch a show because I was feeling uncomfortable. It wasn't part of my normal flow. I pushed this thought away because it's so uncomfortable. I cannot handle it. I don't want it. It doesn't belong here. I didn't know what to say when I was with a group of people, so I pulled out my phone and looked busy. This is not part of the normal flow. That's often how we know something is a compulsion. So if you think about that word, forced, you may ask yourself the next time you're using some type of distraction, am I forcing this? Or am I avoiding anything? What happens if I don't distract right now? Would I be okay? If you're not sure, try it. See how you feel. Choose to not distract. And ultimately, your body will tell you, man, you need to do something. This is uncomfortable. Or this is just part of your normal flow, man. Ultimately, here is the harm. Our brain learns and adapts to everything we do. If we continue teaching it that we cannot handle anxiety, fear, social situations, or just being uncomfortable, then this becomes the new normal. Individuals get to a point where their anxiety was so mild And now it becomes extreme because they haven't faced it in so long. Think about this with anything in our life. The longer we don't practice this skill, the more we forget how to do it. And really, when we get back to it, we're not as proficient. Cool, Nate, so don't distract. So what do I do instead? Well, I'm so glad you asked. Here is what you're gonna be doing. Be with it, tolerate, move closer to the perceived threat. We can use a combination of exposure and response prevention and mindfulness. If you have OCD and have an intrusive thought, we allow a thought to be there. We don't push it, don't get on your phone, don't distract, be in the moment and respond differently. So if I have a thought like, I'm not sure if I'm dishonest if I did something wrong a long time ago, I thought I did, but I'm not sure, and it's just eating me alive, and really I have no evidence to support it, my responses might be, sure, yep, okay, maybe not. I'm feeling all the feelings. I'm engaging with it in a whole new way. Choosing to not problem solve. I'm almost inviting this thought to be there. You can give me as many threats as you want. I'm not really going to use logic through it. I know I feel lots of anxiety. Did the best that I could. I'm moving forward. The more we do this, the thought doesn't actually want to stay around. I repeat this process for the next intrusive thought and the next one. I may go out of my way to pause a TV show or put down my phone so I can be in the moment. I can be with my thoughts, feel all the feels. In social situations, I challenge you to not pull out your phone. Teenagers, I'm looking at you. Well, I mean, we all do it. But see what happens. You may be one of the only few that are not staring at a screen. I bet you it will be an eye-opening experience. You'll look around. What is everyone doing on their phones? They're missing out on the world. You may actually feel uncomfortable and even anxious, but that's good because that's what we want. You need to tolerate those feelings and give yourself the opportunity to communicate. How many opportunities have we missed because we're not willing to risk being uncomfortable or anxious? Open yourself to the world. To have the mindset of, I am accepting this anxiety right now. I'm willing to tolerate it for as long as it takes, and it's gonna reduce on its own. Just like being in that swimming pool, your body will adjust and learn. By not distracting, we're opening the doors and allowing life to be life. And in the process, we're retraining some misfiring that's happening in the brain of all these unnecessary perceived threats. That's the key word though, perceived threats. We are completely guessing with no evidence to support it. So when it's a thought like that, we don't give it any value. Maybe you take away one distraction that you might do a day and build from there. Make a list of all the things you're doing to distract yourself and start eliminating them. And let me know down in the comments which one you're gonna choose. Also, knowing how to respond to an intrusive thought is important. I created a video to help you with your intrusive thoughts and for you to gain some control. Go watch that right now. I'm gonna put it on the screen. It died halfway through? Seriously? And in the process, we're retraining. There's my dog barking.